Hello Mila, hello Jack. Hello everybody else who's watching, and welcome to Storytime with Grandad. Today's book is from the Animals of Farthing Wood, and it is Heroes. The Animals of Farthing Wood had found their lost leader. Fox's new mate, Vixen, was with him. "Oh, Fox, you're safe," sobbed Mole. "Crying again, Moley," said Badger. "What a shame your tears are salty. If they weren't, we'd never go thirsty." "I'm thirsty now," said Baby Rabbit. "Me too," squeaked the mice and voles. Kestrel, who had flown up high to spy out the land, swooped down again. "Kee! Follow me," she cried. "There's an old quarry nearby, and it's full of water." "I remember it, mateys," said Toad. "Lovely it is, a treat of a place." But a fence surrounded the quarry. "So near, yet so far," sighed Vixen. "Most disappointing," said Badger. "What's all the fuss about?" said Adder. She slipped through the fence with ease, hissing at the mice and voles along the way. Mole slid down off Badger's back. "I could make a tunnel underneath, couldn't I, Badger?" he said. "Oh, Moley," said Badger, smiling at his friend. "What would we do without you?" Mole started at once. "You're digging in the wrong direction," said Weasel, and screamed with laughter. "Oh, sorry," said Mole. Mole started digging again. Soil flew out of the hole and onto the other animals. "Oi, stop it!" shouted Father Rabbit. "My husband's being buried alive!" cried Mother Rabbit. In a panic, "He's all right," said Fox sternly. Mole popped out of his new tunnel on the other side of the fence. The hedgehogs dived down after him. "Wait," said Mole. "Let Badger look at it first." "It is a good tunnel, isn't it, Badger?" "Very good indeed," said Badger. "Well done, Moley." Mole glowed with pride. Soon everyone was drinking at the water's edge. Vixen looked around at her new friends. Weasel was teasing Adder. Owl was asleep. Mole and Toad were grubbing in the mud for worms. "Look at greedy Mole," she laughed. "Toad's greedy too," said Mole, with his mouth full. "So I am, mateys, so I am," said Toad. Suddenly there was a strange whistling noise overhead. The animals looked up, startled. A heron was flying over the water, his great wings beating the air. He dived into the water, scooping up a fish. The little animals scrambled for cover. Even Adder slipped quietly under a rock. The heron landed. "Good evening," he said politely. "I hope you don't mind us being here in your quarry, Heron," said Fox. "Guests are always welcome," said the heron. "And please, call me Whistler." "Funny name," said Weasel rudely. Whistler showed her his wing. "A human shot at me once," he said. "The bullet made a hole in my wing. Now the air whistles through it when I fly." "The noise must make hunting difficult," said Owl. "Fish can't hear," said Whistler. "Watch." He took off and plunged into the water. A second later, he surfaced carrying a gleaming fish in his beak. Toad was watching excitedly. "I can fish too. Look at me, mateys," he shouted, and dived into the water. Owl looked on disapprovingly. "Pride goes before a fall," she said. Toad didn't hear. He'd seen a fish, and he darted through the water after it. "I'll show him," he thought happily. He caught the fish by the tail, then surfaced. He didn't see the big carp hiding in the reeds, waiting for him. "Look what I've got!" Toad shouted. The carp was right underneath him. She opened her gaping mouth and pulled Toad back under the water. The carp was hungry, but Toad was fat. Try as she might, she couldn't swallow him. She thrashed about in the water. The animals watched anxiously from the back. "Where's Toad got to now?" asked Fox. "We mustn't lose him. He's our guide." "He's been caught," said Whistler. "I'll take care of that old carp." He dived into the water, his sharp beak searching. The carp tried to swim away, but her heavy mouthful slowed her down. She was no match for the heron. Whistler snapped her up, Toad and all, and dropped them onto the bank. Toad fell out of the carp's mouth. "Is Toad dead?" squeaked Baby Rabbit. "Stand aside, please," ordered Weasel. She picked Toad up by the feet and shook him. "He's opened his eyes," said Mole. Tears of joy splashed down his cheeks. "Thank you, Whistler," croaked Toad in a shaky voice. "You're a hero." The carp was gasping on the bank, dying slowly. Toad felt a pang of sympathy. "Throw her back in, matey," he said to Whistler. "Poor thing, she's in agony." "But she was going to eat you," said Whistler. "Anyway, I've been trying to catch her for years." "Please," said Toad, "one more favour?" Whistler sighed, picked up the carp, and dropped it back in the water. "You're a funny lot, you are," he said. "We're fellow travellers," said Fox. "We've taken an oath to help and protect each other while we're on our journey. Live and let live. That's our motto," Badger explained to the heron. "How interesting," Whistler remarked. "I suppose you want to come with us," cackled Weasel. "Well, actually," said Whistler. "You're welcome to join us," said Fox. "But first you must take the oath," twittered the mice anxiously. "Very well," said Whistler. "I promise not to eat any of you. Will that do?" "Yes, it will," hissed Adder, relieved. It was time to leave the quarry and travel on. Toad and Fox led the way. "Nearly there, mateys," Toad called out encouragingly. "Not far now." "That silly whistling noise is getting on my nerves," grumbled Adder, looking up at Whistler. Suddenly a shot rang out. Toad was so startled he dropped off Fox's back. Kestrel dived down from the sky. "Kee! Kee! There are hunters nearby. Take care!" Fox barked out orders. "Keep together, everyone. Get under the hedge. Quick, rabbits! Don't panic." Vixen was trembling at Fox's side. "Oh, Fox," she whispered. "I hear dogs." "We'll have a better chance if we all keep still," Fox said grimly. The rabbits' eyes were wild with fear, and their noses twitched in alarm. "Don't panic, don't panic," Mother Rabbit whispered frantically. The dogs were close now. Everybody froze. Even Baby Rabbit was as quiet as he could be. Finally, he could bear the tension no longer. Silly with fear, he darted into the clearing. A moment later, the animals heard a loud explosion. Baby Rabbit fell over. "Oh, my baby!" shrieked Mother Rabbit. She started to run into the clearing, but Hare held her back. "It's no good," he said gently. A man with a gun picked up the little rabbit and dropped him into his bag. Sadly, the animals watched the hunter leave the wood with the bag slung over his shoulder. "Baby Rabbit saved us," said Badger softly. "That hunter would have found us all if Baby Rabbit hadn't distracted him. He's a hero." Yes, he is, Fox agreed. Unfortunately, the motto, live and let live, doesn't mean anything to some humans. He looked around at his little band of travellers. The mice, hares, and squirrels had crowded round to comfort the poor rabbits. Overhead, the birds kept watch. Glad you joined us, Whistler, Fox called to the heron. Oh, yes, Whistler replied. I'm proud to have friends like you. He flapped his wings, and the cool breeze whistled through the hole. The end. Goodbye, Mila. Goodbye, Jack. I'll see you soon. Goodbye, everybody. Bye.